Here we are, bottom of the Smash Mountain. I would like to thank all my patron supporters over at patreon.com/bsmpod for continuing to support me in what I'm doing. Big shout outs to my senior producers. We have my mom and dad and Ventus Official. Love y'all. Thank you for the support for everybody tuning in, even if it's not going to necessarily be PPMD for every episode. Although I do appreciate the shout out on Radio Melee. That was fun to hear.
We have
an exquisite guest tonight, one who I was going back and forth on this, and Rose, you can tell me how you feel about this. Reading the opening monologue from 1990 something's Beauty and the Beast by Walt Disney Theater Production Animation Studios.
Pardon me?
So Rose inspired me to look up the opening monologue. Beauty and the Beast is one of my favorite childhood movies and is still probably a top 20 movie for me. It's very well done. Now, we're not, again, talking about the 2017 trash version. It's not trash because they redid it for a cash grab. That's not it could be a good cash grab, but the dialogue that was special just kind of fell flat. The performances flat. The spirit gone. There was so much like amazingness in the animated version, and I think every decision that you could have possibly made to quote unquote make Beauty and the Beast better. Oh, we're gonna address all the plot holes. Oh, we're gonna address all the continuity issues from the animated movie. Aren't we so smart? And they didn't realize they were just making a really bad movie.
Yeah.
But the opening monologue from the 1990 something theatrical version is a real treat. So I thought about reading that to start the podcast instead of introducing you as per normal. But if you're not feeling it, then we won't do it.
Go ahead. You can do whatever you want. This is your podcast, sir.
But to counterpoint, you're the star of the show. That's what I always tell people, even if I forgot to specifically this time.
Just hit me with the monologue. Hit me with the monologue.
Once upon a time, in a faraway land, a young prince lived in a shining castle. Although he had everything his heart desired, the prince was spoiled, selfish, and unkind. But then, one winter's night, an old beggar woman came to the castle and offered him a single rose in return for shelter from the bitter cold. Repulsed by her haggard appearance, the prince sneered at the gift and turned the old woman away. But she warned him not to be deceived by appearances, for beauty is found within. And when he dismissed her again, the old woman's ugliness melted away to reveal a beautiful enchantress. The prince tried to apologize, but it was too late, for she had seen that there was no love in his heart, and as punishment, she transformed him into a hideous beast and placed a powerful spell on the castle and all who lived there. Ashamed of his monstrous form, the beast concealed himself inside his castle, with a magic mirror as his only window to the outside world. The rose she had offered was truly an enchanted rose, which would bloom until his 21st year. If he could learn to love another and earn her love in return by the time the last petal fell, then the spell would be broken. If not, he would be doomed to remain a beast for all time. As the years passed, he fell into despair and lost all hope, for who could ever learn to love a beast?
Damn. I forgot that's how the movie started, but that is how it starts, isn't it?
Everybody loves narration because they just keep doing it, and we keep going to the movie theaters to see it. Now, what I will say is I did not go to see... What's the last movie that I saw in theaters? But the point is, seeing all these people who somehow raised $70+ million for the Flash movie's opening weekend, I don't know those people. I don't know where they came from, but that's $70 million worth of stupid in the world. I just don't get it. That's an easy miss for me. Who wants to go see that?
My God, I just spilled water on the ground.
Sorry to immediate...
It's okay, No, it's okay. Never mind. I'll get it in a bit. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I don't know if it's the right time for you to go into cleaning up. I could read another monologue
No,
to
no,
give you
we
like,
can. It's just a little splash of water. I just kicked my cat's water bowl.
no. Oh, what's the name of your cat,
Yeah,
by the way?
his name is King. He's a very good boy.
Oh,
He's about getting about 4 years old now, I think.
okay. So still got some
Yeah.
energy. What
Oh
we
yeah.
have, my sister in my parents' house, she has a cat. Kit Purrington is his name. Kit Purrington is a bit of a menace depending on the time of day. He only gets fed once a day because he overeats whenever he gets the chance. So he only
Nice.
gets fed once a day, and he's a menace for the majority of the day because he's either hungry or he just ate and he's ready to like his eyes
Eat again.
fully dilate and pupils are huge, and he's like, it's playtime season, baby, and he runs around like a
He's just
maniac.
My cat's just like that all the time. He just has the big eyes all the time. But he's nice. He's cuddly. When I'm playing games, if I'm playing like I'll play Rivals, and he'll just be sitting there in my lap, and I'll be like, "Yay!" Woo.
What do we think about Rivals 2? Are we eagerly anticipating, or are they ruining the things that made Rival 1 special?
I do think that like the differences about Rivals is what makes it a bit more like slightly not more interesting than Melee, but it's different enough. It's different enough to where it's
Right,
not like the exact same thing.
right.
They really are just making like Smash 2, but I'm really excited for it because Rivals is amazing. So
Original IP that the developer wants to see esportized, I think.
yeah,
I guess we'll find out.
I'm kind of surprised. I'm kind of surprised considering how much like I guess because it's an indie game, but it's like it has so much dev support. You think people would like kind of care? People do care, but it's not like Melee. It's not like there's not like that many big Rivals events, unfortunately.
Would it be fair to say that there's 5 big events a year at the most?
It's probably well. The thing is, like most of their big events are also Smash events, so it's typically like like a Riptide or even like a Gommel even or something like that will have like a big Rivals event, and that will be basically Rivals' big major for the year, something like that, right? Typically, something like Genesis is Rivals' big, I guess, major, apart from like the dev run tournaments and stuff like that. I guess.
Wikipedia is useless. There's no reports on sales, but since it's available on several different platforms, it's available on Steam, it's available on Microsoft Windows, whatever that is, because Xbox One is also Microsoft, so make it make sense. It's available on
Make it make
Switch,
sense.
apparently.
It's available on pretty much everything. But this is also a Melee podcast. We should probably get to Melee at some point.
I'll talk whatever about whatever I dang well please. Okay,
You do whatever.
I had
I was
on
like, before we waste our time just talking about random stuff.
the point of a podcast is not to be a 30-second TikTok that is extremely laser focused and well edited.
I know,
Mm,
but there are some people that I feel like they get annoyed if you talk about one topic when they're there for one thing. I'm not sure. I think this podcast would be very different, but I always worry about people's time. I'm like, oh God.
are you worried about your time? I think that's the key thing here. I do care about what people say about the podcast. I do care when somebody occasionally asks for timestamps. I feel it in my heart and go, I should really do that. And then I go, but I
Yeah.
don't want to. So I just don't. And I
Yeah.
love talking about Melee, as you probably know,
Oh yeah.
but I just feel like I like the idea of whatever comes
An
to
open
mind is
conversation.
something that I spent at least 10 minutes, if not 20 minutes, talking to Oates about my obsession with Raylo from the shipping of Ray and
Oh
Kylo Ren.
yes. I was confused there for a second. I was like, "What is that?" And then you explained. It. I was like, "Oh yeah." I mean, then by all means, then we can do whatever. I was just worried that people would not like it.
Well, again, so just to be clear, I think
Look,
the part of this that is, what's the word that I want here? Engaging is when I'm talking about something that I want to talk about in that moment as compared to. So
hmm
how'd you get into Melee? So I needed to get the the
oh
the the
yeah.
monologue out of my system because it's
Look,
just It's such a good monologue for considering the material that it
Exactly.
came from, you know? It's a Disney
Oh
movie.
yeah,
It's tough to
that was great. Also, that
kind
was
of tough
also a
to do that.
huge. That was a huge introduction for me, by the way. That's amazing that you did that.
We are all about making sure that everybody feels welcome. Also, so I'm mainly here. So I'm mainly here for you. That's the other thing I think I wanted to say. I'm mainly here for you. If I were here for the audience, I would do timestamps and I would try harder at self promoting myself and
Oh
being
yeah,
on commentary or being a better melee player, because in this meritocracy that you and I are in, Rose, the better player you are, the more people pay attention to you. So
true.
theoretically, if I focused on playing melee really well and I upset somebody like Ginger, who is upset material, I must say, I'm sorry to say, anyone who's
Hmm.
up and coming always upsets Ginger. And it's really sad because I think Ginger is a good player, but is just like the person to get upset. Either that or Hungrybox on his stream.
Yeah, yeah.
Joey
That just
Donuts is
hold
not
in.
an up and coming player. Joey Donuts is an established player, but
Oh,
Joey Donuts did beat Hungrybox tonight in the coin box. So that's super dummy
okay.
hype. Let's go, Joey
I
Donuts.
did. I did not even get to hear about that. That
That's okay.
is amazing.
It's okay. I follow Etost on Twitter. Shout outs to Etost is a friend of the program, so you know, I
Shout out
get
Etos.
I get a lot of valuable windfall details from the goings on of Melee because
Hmm.
Etost be talking about it, be tweeting about it.
We more people need fans like in Etost. You know, like if you're a JMOOC, I feel like you really value a fan like an Etost. You know.
But you know, I always remind people that Ethos, for all the JMOOC fandom, got one upped by Stell for one glorious day, because Stell popped off with JMOOC after JMOOC won Genesis 9. And
That's
like, you
crazy.
know, that's a brave move. I don't know if I myself would ever feel compelled to do that. But you know, you go Stell. Got out of there just in time before it got too much, you know.
Yeah, that was kind of like that happened with like Royal Flush with Mango. Like, oh, guest is coming
What's
on.
up, King? What's up,
Uh,
King?
uh, that happened with like Mango at like Royal Flush, where people were like, yeah, most of those people who ran on stage didn't even know didn't even know Mango. They just ran on because they were really excited.
Well, it was super. I mean, what a tournament. That was game 15. Let's go,
Okay,
King. Totally in the way. Oh, such a cutie.
are you gonna sit or are you gonna go down? Okay, he's gonna do whatever he wants.
That is the way of the cat. And by the way, that's why cats
Yeah.
are superior to dogs, because dogs make
Hmm.
it, I don't want to say too easy, but I prefer to be intellectually stimulated, and dogs are not intellectually stimulating.
They're also just a bit much. I have two dogs as well, and one of them just doesn't know what personal space is at all. So they also lick constantly. They just so it's an assault, man. It's like I need love all the time, and I'm also going to love you. It doesn't matter.
It's the perfect scenario for the right person, but most of us don't want doggy breath plastered onto us. So,
Mm,
you
not
know,
particularly. It's just kind of the way it is. Oh, this is gonna be a great episode for cat people. Oh, unless he stop doing that, man.
King goes, that's normally my spot, so I don't know what you want me to do about
Are
that.
you gonna? He's sniffing stuff up here. There's stuff on my desk. Get over here. Just sit down. Stay here. Okay, this works. This is a thumbnail. 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 Thumbnail.
Such a cutie.
I know. There's probably only cat cam, like straight up dedicated cat cam that this podcast has had. Probably.
Well, it's between King and Breakfast. Breakfast is Hada's cat. Shout outs to Breakfast. I got to
Ah,
meet
yes.
Breakfast as well
Mm-hmm.
as Hada, as well as Luca, as well as Ellen. The all lovely to meet. But me and Breakfast really connected. We were, I mean, within 30 seconds, he's just like rubbing his face into my hand, and I go, "Oh, that's right. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yep. You know what's up. You know I'm a
Yeah.
cat guy."
Oh yeah. NS has a lot of cat people in it. A bunch of people have been getting cats. So Frog, I believe, fosters cats every so often, and this is a tag. I don't know if you've heard of it. You're gonna have to bear with me here. His tag is Mega Joint Cuck. He He just got a new cat and it's adorable. His name is Bongo. I love him very much, you know. So NS Melee has a lot of cats in it. Everyone's got cats. Oh, shout out Bonnie, Petra's cat. Fat as hell. I love that cat.
Shout outs to NS, by the way, who I've had on Lil Mitz and Legs and Petra,
Hmm.
and it was a joy and a privilege to have on Legs and Petra specifically, who are very kind to me anytime there is interacting or mixing, and I always betray both of them because I don't go to Gommel and I haven't been to Halifax for a big tournament like the Kings of Halley. I mean, I would love to actually just show up to a local in NS and just chill, but I
Hmm.
sadly do not have unlimited funds to do so.
And it's also you'd have to make a very specific time because we don't have weeklies. We have not right now at least. We have like a monthly every few weeks. Like people just started running monthlies because there was no weekly anymore. So everyone just takes turns hosting at their place, like a tournament or like getting a new venue. Like we just started another monthly, like a last month, you know, and that's been going on. Oh my God, this is just gonna keep
About a week
happening.
ago, you have to let me get that out of my system also.
I know,
Shout
I
outs to
know.
the Vine days.
That was a great meme, you know. But speaking of Petra and Legs, to somewhat pivot into how I got into Melee, those two are genuinely the reason I at all play currently, like at all, because when I first I got into Melee like young, went to one tournament, didn't go to another one, and then one day I'm just bored. I look at the old Nova Scotia Melee Discord and I hear that there's a bar tournament. I'm like, well, shit, but my controller's fucked up because I botched a paint job on it horribly that was just unsalvageable. So then Petra and Legs, who had never met me or really spoken to me at all ever before, just drove to my house to give me a free like GameCube shell and set of sticks and buttons. They just gave them to me. They drove. I don't know where they were coming from, but they just gave them to me. So
Amazing.
that's kind of why I'm here.
Oh my gosh, hearts in the chat. I need to put a heart in the chat, even if it's just me doing it for Legs and Petra.
Exactly.
How far of a
Such
drive
good
do you think it
people.
was?
Well, there's like a few cities in Nova Scotia. I'm technically in one that's right outside of the main city, Halifax, and they're in Dartmouth. So I don't know honestly if they came from their house or they already had stuff on it, but probably not that long, like a 30-minute drive, maybe like 35 minute. Not that
Daggum.
bad.
It just again speaks to how beautiful of souls they have. You know, I just love that so
Yeah.
much. It warms my
Mhm.
heart. I wanted to ask you about how you got into melee, but I think I I always like discovering like how you get in, how you stay in, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you are a smidge younger than me, which you are, then
Mhm.
would it have been something like the documentary or was it something else? I mean, I've heard about a fair amount of people who just watched Apex 2015 because
Mhm.
like a friend told them watch Apex 2015 and they did, and then they
Right.
got into Melee. Like,
Mhm.
what was your canon event?
So nice. My I guess I haven't even seen the movie. I'm gonna make the reference anyways. Canon event was back in about 2013. I'm about 12 and I am obsessed with watching documentaries at the time. I'm just
Hmm.
looking up documentaries for anything. I think I watched Dear Zachary, which is a really great documentary. If you have not seen that, you're a father. That one will destroy you. Uh, if you're a
Is it like
father,
Beautiful Boy destroying levels? Because I watched that recently and that was oh.
I don't know, but I will say it's the only movie that made me just inconsolably sob like all over myself. And it took like 20 minutes into the movie. And but basically, I was just looking up documentaries for everything that I could fathom, really, just like this documentary. But what about that? What about this? And then eventually, I'm like, I really love Smash. I bet there's a development history on Smash Brothers out there. So I type in, Smash Brothers documentary, and I don't get a development history at all. I'm like, Smash Brothers, what the hell is this? And I watch it, and I'm immediately enthralled. I'm like, okay, because at this point I thought Melee was kind of bad as a kid. I was like, oh, Brawl's where it's at. Brawl's better.
Yes, Brawl is Subspace Emissary. I keep telling these people, you
I
know.
know, right? Like as a kid, what are you supposed to think? You're supposed to think the game where you fall like a rock is super fun. Like what?
I
Like
mean, yes, but it doesn't have Subspace Emissary. Again, I have to keep coming back to that because that was
that,
the thing to do.
yeah, it's kind of crazy that they didn't do that again. But whatever, Sakurai will Sakurai.
Sakurai was salty about people uploading YouTube videos
Yep,
of all the cutscenes. I'm
I
serious. That was
remember.
one of the things that he has stated in one of those Famicom
Hmm.
articles. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
find it while you're talking. Please go on.
So basically, I watched the documentary all during a trip I did to Boston in about 2013. I watched all of it. It must have been after the documentary had already finished because I watched all the episodes and I had all of them downloaded onto like a tablet so I could watch them during the car ride because I was just obsessed with this story and I just wanted to keep watching the series like over and over and over again. I was just like, I need to. Something about it was just so I was like, damn, I didn't realize that like Smash had all this to it. I didn't realize that there was like all this tech, all these personalities, all these tournaments, all these different, storylines. I didn't understand all that. And I kind of immediately got the appeal. I just wanted to like, my main thing is I was just like concerned about like, I didn't know how to enter the scene because I was a child. So I was like, oh, well, what do I do? Do I get my mom or dad to drive me? And they don't want to do that. I did that once to my stepdad. He did not like having to be at a tournament at all. He did not want any part of that. And he was like, oh God. After a few hours, I think we got about like 4 hours in, and he was like, all right, are we done now? And I'm like, no, that's not how these go. This is like a round robin pool thing. It's not done in like 4 hours. Like we're gonna be going for a bit. And eventually we left early because we had to, but but Melee, it's been with. I remember as a kid, obviously I played it because we had like Melee was just like one of the big games you all played on GameCube. Like if you had a GameCube, you played Melee on it. It's just the fact of the matter. You played items on every stage, whatever. You played teams with all your cousins and siblings and everything.
Team attack off so you could
Team
spam
attack off.
Samus combos. Yeah.
Exactly. And then when you discover teams tournaments in real life, you're like, oh God, these people are psychos. But uh, we would just have like the neighborhood kids would come over. We'd all play Smash and stuff like that. It was just a good time. So Smash has kind of always been there for me in a way where it's just been a game that's always been a constant that I've always played somewhat no matter what. It's seemed that way like through my very early years. Like one of my earliest memories of being alive is playing Melee, is
That's
playing this
crazy.
game. It is playing Bowser on Pokemon Stadium is one of my with my cousins is one of my formative memories from like a baby. I was a little Bowser main, a little tiny little baby Bowser.
That was my first character of choice in Melee as a
Exactly.
small
Well,
youngin.
how could you not? He's so cool.
Super cool. I mean, are you kidding? I played as Bowser in Mario Kart 64 because obviously, and then in Melee, I go, whoa, you can play as
Mm-hmm.
Bowser in this Smash game? Because I always wish that
Mm-hmm.
you could play as Bowser in Smash 64 because I was a Smash 64
Mm-hmm.
boy. And then I became a man at the age of 8.
Hey,
But
yeah.
really, I was not a man yet because I had a long way to go before I discovered bigger and better things. Or I should say
Didn't even.
smaller and faster and better things, like a character that can actually move in Melee. Sorry to 64-bit Hero or other Bowser mains out there, but other than making Giga Bowser documentaries, nobody really cares about your character.
You play Fox?
I do on the box, but then when I play on
Oh.
GCC, I like playing as any high tier character, except for maybe Yoshi and Peach. But double jumps are a little bit tough for me
Yeah.
when they cancel. I love it for Ness in 64. I could
Hmm.
do Ness double jump cancel aerials like crazy in that game. For whatever reason, it just does not translate very well to Melee for me because the timing's different, and I always say, "Ugh, the timing's different," and I get mad. I wanted to just bring it back
Yeah.
to Subspace Emissary real quick because I was not
Yes.
100% correct. I
Oh
was only
no.
98% correct. First of all, it's not Famicom, it's the Famitsu magazine. But
Yes.
this is what
Yes.
he says. Sakurai said, unfortunately, the movie scenes we worked hard to create were uploaded onto the internet. You can only truly wow a player the first time he sees a cutscene. I felt if players saw the cutscenes outside the game, they would no longer serve as rewards for playing the game. So I've decided against having them in, and then like to paraphrase at the end, he's saying I don't want to have them moving forward. So what I'm telling you is yes, he got salty and he fails to understand one of the very first things that I was so excited to see for Brawl when it was released in Japan first was like put on the cutscenes, and I watched all of them.
Hmm.
And guess what I ended up
Hmm.
doing? I bought Super Smash Bros. Brawl anyway. I looked forward to seeing those cutscenes when I played
Who'd
Subspace
thought? Who'd have
Emissary
thought?
anyway. And I think people who watch those cutscenes who were not necessarily people who were going to buy Brawl, I think it got a fair amount of people to actually get the game. What a crazy
Yeah, probably.
concept.
Man, I remember the lead up to Brawl as a kid, just like being like that. That seemed like crazy to me as a kid. Like we're talking about like new Smash reveals, when people are like screaming and jumping in their chairs for like the Samus 3. But then we got like, but then I remember as a kid genuinely probably screaming because I saw Sonic the Hedgehog in Super Smash Brothers. And I was like, it's Sonic, guys. Anything is possible. And then
Mm-hmm.
Solid Snake came out, and then it was like, okay, this is the greatest game ever.
They shut down the Smash Bros. Dojo website somewhat recently, which is very
What?
sad. Mm-hmm.
I thought it was gonna be like Space Jam.
It's like Space Jam. Wait, what?
Do you not know the Space Jam website thing?
Oh, is this how you can look up things that are archived or whatever?
No, 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 no. Space Jam, the Space Jam website, like they had a promotional website for Space Jam when the movie first came out, like the old one, not the new one, and it's been up for like decades. I think they recently changed it over to the new Space Jam, but I think you can still access the old website through a link on the website. So it was like a really crappy like GeoCities website that was just really famous for a long time because it was just up and up and up, and people were like, "Is Space Jam still up?" Yep, 20 years later, still up.
By the way, we are all Gucci. Maybe it was a jump scare kind of a thing and they put it back up. I don't know, but it's still here. I'm clicking on things. I could still see Sonic the Hedgehog. Ah, yes. I
Oh
was going to
yeah.
guess October 7th, 2007, but it was October 10th, 2007 when this first dropped. It dropped it like it was hot. I mean, this was like the day before that you saw the Sonic announcement on the Smash Bros. Dojo website. It may have been, oh yeah, we're bringing back the home run bat for Brawl, and we all go, all right, awesome. That's a cool update for October 9th. And then
Ooh,
they just dropped
awesome.
this. And then the next day was, by the way, we came up with a new bomb. It's like a sticky bomb. You throw it and you get it stuck on people, but then it can get stuck onto other people when you pass by. They just it's like what? There was no build up to it whatsoever. Dropped it like it was hot, and so good. And the video dropped at the same time. Yes, that's right. Oh, sorry.
Damn.
I got too excited. They did talk about Sonic's special moves the next day on October 11th, but gosh, looks exactly the way that I remembered it in my brain. This is awesome. All
Well,
right.
well, the funny thing about talking about Sonic special moves is they're all just balls.
Yes, you are
Every single
absolutely
move is
correct.
just a ball.
Kind of useless. I don't want to say 100 entirely, but when you think about how they needed to slow down Brawl to account for the Wii Remote controller, and
Hmm.
they thought this is a good game to put Sonic into.
I mean,
Uh,
granted, Sonic was not good in that game, so that's
that's
the
what I'm
saving grace.
saying
Sonic was
because
not a
of how
good
slow
character.
he is. He's not like it's
Mm,
kind of in the same way he can never be as fast as he is in original material in the same way that Ridley can't be the same size.
mm.
Like this is why we can't have nice things. Make Ridley half the size of the stage. I don't care. Just make it happen.
That'd be fine. I mean, there are fighting games that do that. Like Killer Instinct has characters that take up the whole goddamn screen.
Mm-hmm.
So why can't Smash? You know,
Yeah,
we already got
colossal.
the
Yeah.
make the Nintendo playable.
Yes, that no, the very same Nintendo. The Cracker Barrel launcher also goated item. So with Melee, since it's kind of preserved in a little box of occasional UCF tweaks and
Mhm.
Pokemon Stadium being frozen and that kind of thing, I always just say about other games, let's just do whatever because the one that I care about the most, Melee, and I guess 64 also. I play 64 regularly still. I'm actually
Mhm.
registered to play 64 singles at No John's 3. Whoop whoop this upcoming weekend. So huzzah,
Nice.
huzzah. And those games are kind of preserved. So I don't really care what they do in Ultimate or subsequent Smash games. It'll never be as
Mhm.
good as Melee, and they'll never have rollback netcode because they
No.
just would never. That'd be something Nintendo would have to go out of their way to do. Take the L and move on. I want to ask you about your views on on the agedness of Melee because you're young enough, not like OG kid young, but you're young
No.
enough that you can see these new shiny things coming out into the world like Ultimate, kind of get behind the hype. Everybody's talking about it. It's hard to stay focused on something like Melee. And I know that you were kind of pulled back into the community a little bit there by Legs and Petra, but it also has to be a game that you consider worth your time playing. So why is
Mhm.
Melee worth your time in playing it?
It was just I don't know, something about it just got that sauce, dude. It's got something to it. It's got something in it that just makes it feel good and good to watch. I feel like that's something a lot of people say though. Like a lot of people say like that Melee is just a really good spectator sport as well as a uh, good esport to play just because it looks very interesting. So just watching it is like that was kind of what kept me in the game for a while because after 2017, I want to say I didn't watch any Melee for like a year. I didn't keep up with anything because I was kind of doomer at that point about Melee because I was like, I think Melee's solved. I think everything's been figured out. I think Hungrybox is going to win every tournament. Uh, this is it. This is we're done. It's all Jigglypuff and Hungrybox and
The train stops
maybe
here.
yeah. The train stops here. I was like, this is it. This is Melee. No more. And then 2018 rolls around. A little guy walks in, little man with a he didn't have a pillow yet, but he would go on to have a pillow. But and then he comes and he just wins a few tournaments. I'm like, okay, that's a little interesting. What's going on there? Why is this guy winning events now? What's going on? And through that, I kind of got interested in watching again because I was less doomer because Hungrybox was losing, which is horrible to say, but uh, yeah, it was kind of depressing just seeing one guy win
That's
and it
crazy. Why
being
was tipped off tipped off 14? Why was that so fun to watch a couple weekends ago? Hungrybox wasn't there? Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Uh, I'm not gonna fully say it, but he doesn't. He's not exactly my favorite player to watch. My brother loves him though. My little brother loves him. Thinks Hungry Box is great, and I'm like, yeah,
Don't worry, we all become Mango fans at some point, and then we don't. Or
yeah.
then we're not Mango fans anymore. But then we're so
He's a
back.
he's a mango hater. He. Okay, because this was post because he'll ask me stuff about Melee, right? He'll just be like, oh, what's going on? And this was like post Mango going emo rank 3, blah 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 blah. And I just gave him the rundown of like, oh, he's mad about his rank, and now that's just all he thinks Mango is. He just thinks he's this angry, bitter dude. And I'm like trying to explain to him that no, 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 that's not all he is. He was just bitter at that thing, but he's 9, so he doesn't get that.
It's okay. It's called phases of life and
Yeah,
moods, which lasts for months.
yeah. Yeah, he's he takes interest in my melee, journey. But like the thing that like also like makes melee worth playing to me is just I really do think that this is such a boring answer because everyone says this whenever you ask this kind of question, but it's literally the people. Like you see people that you really like. You see this community that's awesome, and the game itself is rewarding. Like it feels rewarding to get better at melee. You play one day, and then the next day you're like, I feel that I'm better about this thing, or hey, I'm noticing this more about myself. Hey, I'm doing this more than I should. I should probably do this less in this scenario. It makes you think that way. There's something there in it that's psychologically interesting to me.
Yes, the mental stimulation of the game plus the go to community sauce. But that's the thing. There are mostly super awesome subsections and regions of Melee. I guess we can't say fully confidently that every region is super, super duper awesome. We obviously
Mm,
have shining examples, things like NYC or Chicago or SoCal. I guess whatever part of Texas Bobby Big Balls and Salt live in. Texas is way too big of a state to just be one thing. It's got
no,
to be more
no. I think
separated than that.
I
But
think Dallas maybe. I think
who?
Bobby's at least Dallas.
Well, Bobby and Salt live together, or at least have recently. Maybe not
Yes.
right this second, but that has been a thing. That
I
was
don't know.
part.
I could be talking nonsense right now.
I mean, I'm not 1,000% sure.
No.
Texas is a big state, so I just always go Texas and then wave the hand
Yep.
and move on. So and what we're trying to do in my region in 717 is again like to make it as much about the community as it is about the game. We are really good at organizing tournaments that are fun to go to. We've been getting really good at that recently, but we haven't been we've been so slacking off on making a PR even though we have enough events to
Mm.
make a PR. And once again, poor Sean today or yesterday into today was going, we should really do a PR, and everyone's just like leaving him on red. I'm sorry, Sean. Uh just
Uh,
just so busy. But like the thing is you know how it goes. Eventually someone will just do it without really asking anyone and go, Psh, there it is. And we all go, dang, either that's hype or that's whack. And then we keep it
the
moving.
problem is with NS is that would never happen because they're all fucking sweaty nerds and
Mm,
they need that PR. They
need
need
that
that.
PR. Give it to me
Mm-hmm.
on a quarterly basis.
Mm-hmm.
Do
That's
you
what
want
they
to be
need.
PR'd in NS?
Yes.
So tell me, how close do you think you are to being PR'd?
I don't know. Uh, People have said that they don't. I think people don't understand how I play the way I do, and I think the only reason that I can't really explain that is because I don't have very many recorded sets on YouTube. Like even if people are listening to this, like you can like look up my set history. I think the only thing that will come up are my Sailor Moon sets. Uh, but I play way too weird and I catch people off guard, but people say that I have intentionality, which feels crazy because most of the time I'm just like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm just kind of trying things out and seeing if they work. And
Mm.
it's working. It's working. It's kind of just Falcon to me is just a very intuitive character. Something about him just clicks with me, and all of his moves work how I want them to. They link together and feel exactly what I want. And no other character feels like that. That's why I play no other characters. I don't care. There's no other person in the cast. It's Captain Falcon. He is the character.
Captain
He
Falcon or
has the
bust. I love that.
he has the knee, he has the up air, he has the back air, he's got all the moves that I like. All these moves, they do the thing I want.
Only
You
one of
know,
them came out slightly faster for out of shield options, but that's neither here nor there.
I know, but fucking Falcon doesn't get anything good. But uh, I just I just know that like my playstyle is very unpredictable in the fact that like I go for things people aren't ready for in majority of the time. Like I was playing uh Petra, we were drinking and just playing games, and it was Yoshi, Captain Falcon, and the only reason that I didn't win those games, even of Petra's own admission, was because I was just killing myself while killing the Yoshi. It didn't matter. It was just I saw red. Well, I see red when I play. I don't see it's not rage. I see blood. I want to see the character bleed. I want to see him die for me because there's nothing more satisfying to me in this game than just hitting the opponent a bunch. It is so fun to just hit them with moves and they can't do anything about it. It is my favorite thing to do. And I think everyone notices that by the way I play because I just fly all around the place and just am throwing out hitboxes everywhere. I'm just like knee, nair, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like that gets me blown up though because improving that kind of style is hard because like I've kind of just done this because it's intuition and now I kind of have to think about it more intentionally like okay, use your brain for a second here. Don't jump when they're doing get up attack. Why would you jump when they're doing the get up attack? Why would you just stand there? Why would you stand? Why would you jump and go for a dare when they're gonna hit you out of it with the get up attack? Why did you not crouch cancel that? Because you were just not doing. You just stood there. You just stood there,
Just time
and
to
they're
jump
just normal.
better.
They're just time to jump better. That's true. But there's also it. That's the thing, right? I have to think about them slightly more intentionally than I have been, and thinking about it more patiently because I just want to go, 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 and
Autopilot is a
that's.
strong urge.
Mm-hmm. And my autopilot is to run at you, is to hit you with a move all over the place. I probably have some of the craziest just just run up knees ever, just absolutely flying across the stage with haymakers. It's insane, but I
I
don't
think
really.
the best thing for you is to add a little bit of dash dancing, and then you'll become the weapon. You know who's AFK 797 underscore, by the way.
That is holy moly. He is a Luigi player from here. Very good.
Dropping a follow on the stream, so thank you AFK.
Mm-hmm.
Love it, love it.
Mm-hmm. Support the Patreon if you can. Give him your money, holy moly, please.
That's a little bit of a stretch. I mean, we already covered
No,
the
give him your
Patreon
money.
at the top. I don't,
No,
that NS needs to look after its own kind of a thing. Like
true.
hey, don't worry about it, AFK, if you're still watching.
No,
Oh,
I'm messing with him.
mm. And also, Petra did stop in earlier and say hello. Might still be listening. If you are,
Oh
hi
yes.
Petra. It's always good to
Hello.
say hi from a non-returnable communication line. Well, no,
Fair enough.
sorry, could say
There's
something else
Twitch
in chat.
chat.
No, there's always Twitch chat. I wanted to ask you then if you feel like you have an intuitive play style. Watching other people play Falcon probably does very little for you because why would you emulate something that they're doing when it doesn't feel like the thing that you would want to do? Or am I wrong?
I think I have to say you're wrong because all I do is watch other Captain Falcon players.
And you try to
That's all
copy
I
what they
want to
do?
do.
Like, explain that to me because that's what I'm trying to make sense of.
I think more so I'm trying to copy scenarios that I see. Or like, oh, that move can do what there? Or, oh, I didn't even think about using that move in that situation. Like copying them. When I mean intuitive, I mean I don't really particularly know when I'm going to do something. But when I see a scenario, there are some times where I just go, I just know this is going to work. I just know. There are times where I'm just like, I just know if I just start a Falcon kick, it's just going to work. I'm just going to catch them off guard. They're not going to see it. I'm going to somehow kill them with this Falcon kick somehow. It'll just go out and it will work. And sometimes that don't work. And that's the other problem is that it's a big risk to play like that. It's a big risk to go off like intuition and just pure like this feels right because as we know from watching people who are top players, doing what feels right doesn't always get the victory. It doesn't. It doesn't get the victory most of the time.
That's why we love Mango so much. He gets the dub when he
Mm-hmm.
does what feels right, and it happens to work. Ugh.
Yeah, and then he does what doesn't work, and then he still wins. It's 50
That
50.
too, that too. Run up nair, run up nair. I was watching Wizzy play against Jmook in particular, and I just was blown away by how many falling last possible second up airs. I mean, like
Hmm.
maybe only active for 1 or 2 frames before landing and L canceling and just being. I
That
mean,
that move is
just
that
so
move is
versatile,
so good. It's
so
so
good.
good. It's so good. People forget. Like I feel like if you're not a Falcon player, you're just gonna go on about knee and stomp, right? You're just like,
Right.
oh man, this guy just, oh man, I'm at 60 and this guy just gets a free combo, brain dead easy, you know. But like up air, if you know how to use up air, which I'm trying to get better at doing, because instant up airs are so they're really good.
Yeah.
They're really, really good. And when I hit one and I'm just like okay, yeah, that's a good move. No wonder people break their hands trying to do this all the time. So,
That's true. It is tough to insta up air. I mean, but
yeah.
it's just it. But like even if you're insta up airing or falling with one, you just gives you feels like you can start moving a lot faster because it's probably less. No, it is less landing lag than a L canceled down air.
Mhm.
I mean, Stomps just has a lot of landing lag. It's all good. It's all good.
It does.
I mean, it's just fun to watch someone like Wizzy come back after such a long time and dominate. So
Exactly.
if you do watch a lot of Falcons, who is your favorite Falcon to watch?
This is not a surprise to any NS people because I don't talk about a ton of my favorite melee players a ton, but I think they can just deduce. I dropped something. They can just deduce that I'm a huge Nun fan, huge Lord fan, huge Silent Spectre fan. All of these out there off the wall Captain Falcons were my jam coming up as a kid. I just wanted to be like them. I was like, oh, these guys are amazing. I'd watch Silence by Silent Spectre, that combo video just constantly. I was like, oh my god. So... And granted, that combo video does not age well at all, but you know, that's old school Captain Falcon combo videos. Sorry, Scar.
Oh, oh, we said sorry to Scar
That's
because there's
that
something that
that's
wasn't cool in a Scar combo
no.
video.
That's not even a hot take anymore. I don't even think Scar thinks the I Kill Mufasa series are that amazing anymore.
Well, I think because Scar, anytime Scar's on the mic, seems to go out of the way to kind of just say something slightly self-deprecating. Always
Deprecating,
fun to
yeah.
see Scar and Mango on the mic together, and they're not on the mic often. And well, that's because Scar's kind of taking a back step, and I understand why. I get it.
Hmm.
I get it.
I mean, being a dad and having to, I mean, he's the guy at home right now, from what I understand. So, you know, take care of your kid. I do that before Melee. I mean, do that every day.
I get it. I also am the guy at home. Although I think Scar does does much more than I do in terms of like whatever. But I mean,
Hmm.
I'm big time chilling with the kids while my
Hmm.
lovely wife Jen goes to work and brings in the money for us. Super fun to be
Nice.
at home though. We've talked about
Oh
it. She
yeah.
likes working. I like being at home. Like this is a great
I
switch.
remember I remember last episode you were talking about that. You said you are an indoor person. You don't like outside. You said that with God, who was last episode?
The very
British.
most recent episode was me
Yes.
and Tilt Slam Bam.
Yeah. 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 Oh no, wait. It was a British person, wasn't it? I
Oh,
don't think
well,
you're good.
no. I see. I recorded with Hassan, and then I recorded with Tilt.
Okay. Yes, I missed that episode then. Okay.
No worries.
Different.
It's okay.
All
You
right.
have something to look forward to. Nate is a fun conversation, but
Oh
no, we're
yes.
we're we're talking about Swarm Engine, aka Hassan. And
Yes.
yeah,
Swarm
it's
Engine.
true. Being outdoors is a bit of a bad time, but I loved being up in Colorado because there were a lot less bugs because of the elevation. So let's go Colorado.
Mm-hmm. You don't got that here in Nova Scotia. You just got mosquitoes because gross.
Tell me about weather in Nova Scotia. I feel like it would be great for this time of the year and lovely and humid, of course, but
Yeah.
overall a good time. It's just that the winter months are what's like really tough because then you really get the brunt of how far up north you are, right?
Yeah, weather. This is such a lovely topic. What's the weather like? We're gonna talk about like okay. So it's been very gloomy the past few days,
I just
and it's
haven't
been
talked to
very
Nets about
depressing.
it, so I just need to know.
Exactly. It's quite gloomy. It's quite gloomy today and the last few days. I did an errand today, and it poured all over me. It was crazy. I hated it, but I'm not made of sugar. I'll be okay. But it's been all right. I mean, summer in Canada is kind of weird, especially in Nova Scotia, because our weather is so all over the place. Like, it can be pouring rain for like an hour and then it's sunny again, like right after. And it's like, I don't understand. And then it's just raining again. And it's just been so weird and all over the place. I don't really know how to describe it. If it's good, if it's bad. We were affected by the wildfires in Canada.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know if we were like the first ones to really get it, but it was the first time I heard of it because I guess I wasn't. Maybe I wasn't following the news enough. I don't know, but uh, it was very hot during those days. Very dry. It was not great because not just that, but mm, just the conditions outside were not great after that. All that smoke out there is not great. A lot of people in the US are feeling that right now. Sorry, guys. We didn't mean to do that.
It's okay. The air's much better now. It was really only bad for a weekend. Now it's just kind of
Hmm.
quote unquote back to normal. But what is normal anyway? You know.
No, no, no. Yeah, there is no normal anymore. I mean, was there?
No, there wasn't. One of my favorite Twitter threads that comes up every once in a while are news clippings going all the way back to the 1800s, all kind of expressing the same sentiment. My favorite
Hmm.
being no one wants to work anymore. It went
Yeah.
all the way back. I just was blown away. Every single generation, there's a bunch of old people saying no one wants to work anymore. These young people are
It's
so
not.
lazy and so entitled.
It's not that no. It's not that no one wants to work anymore. It's no one wants to get paid for that work, man. It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not good. I work minimum wage. I work at a gas station. Sucks, but it's not that bad. Just pay is minimum wage. It's
It's atrociously close to below minimum wage, to put it that way. Well,
yeah.
what do you aspire to do if it's not working at a gas station? What would you rather be doing?
Uh, See, this is my problem with life.
Mm,
I I do not know. I have zero clue. Uh, I'm I don't I didn't say my age. I'm 22. Uh, which might be surprising to some people. Some people are surprised when I say that. I did not go to university. I did not even try to apply because uh, I graduated into COVID, so that wasn't great, and I didn't feel great about going to school in general because I was like, well, the world feels like it's ending right now, so I don't know if I want to go to school right now. But that gap year is now it's 2023. I'm still just working away, doing my thing, and I don't really know because I don't know what the hell I want to do. I have no idea. It's that post, high school, and then you take a gap year, and then that gap year just becomes I'm just being an adult, and now it's like, yeah, but college is kind of a good thing at times. It's pretty useful, but I know, didn't you say in one of your episodes that you did not go to college, sir?
didn't even apply. That's right.
Exactly. We're in the same boat here. All right. See, my thing is I think I have things I want to try to do, but then I also don't know if doing that would make me hate it.
Mm.
There's
Well,
that thing in me
what do you like the most about your life right now? What do you like the most about it?
most about it. I like exploring creative things, and I want to try and write more. I've been trying to do more on like Letterbox just because that's a fun thing to do. It's a fun thing to try to like watch a movie and try to formulate your thoughts on it. Unfortunately, I'm not very good at it. I'm very I don't write very formally. That was kind of one of the biggest pet peeves English teachers had with me was I wrote very casually. I wrote in first person a lot, and they were like, "Don't do that. That's not cool." Uh, but
I wonder what they tweet, you know? How do you tweet
That's all right.
by writing in anything but first person, you know what I'm saying?
I think it's just because they were mostly focused on like essay writing and stuff like that, and like typically in like essays referring to yourself in the first person you're not supposed to do or
But
something. I don't know.
my mom used to get on me about this all the time. She was my teacher because I was homeschooled. She hated when I wrote essays in the first person. And I go, like, yeah, who cares? Why are you the only
I
one who
don't
cares,
know.
man? I did not
I
call my
know.
mom man, but you get what I'm saying.
No.
I do call her dude,
That'd
and
be
she always gets mad at me when I do that.
I don't think my mom would care about being called dude, but I definitely don't call her dude. But I think yeah, like letterbox is but I'm also just a horrible procrastinator. I have fallen into the habit of in my free time just watching the same set of YouTube videos over and over and over again when I'm bored. Like I'll like if I like time that I would use to watch a movie or something, I'll spend watching like old like Germa videos or something, and I'll just laugh at Germa, and I'm like, I could have used that to watch a movie and then tried to freaking write something about it, and now I wasted all my day doing jack crap about nothing. It's just you know, it's one of those things where it's like you want to do it, but you just got to get the ball rolling, and then once you start getting it going, you'll probably get the juices flowing. So
That
I'm
was
gonna
part
try
of
and
the
do.
inspiration behind starting this podcast. I always felt like I didn't do enough. I was just kind of in perpetual consummation mode, consuming everything mode. I wasn't really
Mm-hmm.
making anything. And I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've ever considered myself a very creative person. I would say, for the most part, not creative. I'm pretty practical. But
Mm-hmm.
since I love talking about Melee so much, I thought, well, the podcast is the key, you know? The Wannabes
Mm-hmm.
podcast, the Alston Melee podcast, very, very inspiring. Just was a bunch of people not ridiculously good at the game, just the normal ridiculously good at the game, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just like the normal attainable kind. And that doesn't, I can't beat. I mean, Wasabi in particular, Wasabi could be top 100, just not playing Melee anymore, which is sad. Shout
Mm-hmm.
outs Wasabi, but it's okay.
Damn.
I wouldn't be top 100 level at all in the near future, I don't think, but I'm sidetracking a bit. I know what you mean by saying I feel like there's a lot more things that I would rather not do than actually get into. And when you are graduating high school and you've barely begun to look into the world, I mean, looking into the world through the lens of the internet is not very helpful. At that time, it was overwhelming. And I thought,
Mm-hmm.
I could be doing all kinds of things, but none of these are really striking my fancy and making me go, oh. Because even things related to video games, I thought, well, that just requires me practicing a bunch, and I never liked practicing a bunch for anything. I loved playing soccer in middle school, but as soon as they told me, well, to play on the high school team, you have to try out. You have to do fitness a
Mm-hmm.
couple times a week. You have to work out a couple times a week. You have to also join the track team or something weird like that. It wasn't have to join the track team, but they were like, you
Mm-hmm.
should really join the track team. And I said, I don't want to do any of those things. I would just like to show up and play soccer, please, like I have been doing. No one had an issue with this beforehand. And it's because there are not too many competitive people in the world, but there are enough competitive people in the world that in order to do something, you have to really sell out and act like nothing else matters just to be able to have a chance at doing it. And to be
Mm-hmm.
a doctor, to do law, to I mean even something like being in charge of an organization takes years and years and years of your life. And what? You're supposed to stay ironclad, resolute on the goal that you set out for yourself 5, 10, 15 years ago and make it through that entire time without ever once on a Friday night after everything has simmered down, died down, and the thoughts come rushing into your brain of what you are doing with your life is meaningless and
Mm-hmm.
nothing matters and you should stop
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing. That is that is what comes to me and I go, ah, yeah, I guess I should just relax. So there is
Mm-hmm.
something awesome to the chilling thing, and I the only reason why my parents, in my mind, the only reason why my parents have kind of backed off of me not going to school was because I got married and because I have had children, and I have between, well, not this year specifically, but for the first, 6 full years of us being married and having children, I worked to provide a living for our family. And now my lovely wife Jen
Mm-hmm.
does that instead. And I'm taking care of the kids, which is working, just not in they're not my coworkers, they're my children. I'm raising them up to be hopefully well-meaning, positive,
Mm-hmm.
contributing to society type individuals. It is a thing,
Right.
but it's not the collecting a paycheck kind of work.
No, no, no. Yeah. Congrats to you for that. It's awesome. Dads are awesome. Shout out to all dads. They're
Aw.
amazing. Oh my God, my cat is attacking me.
Let's go, King.
You said no, fuck dads. Actually,
Mm-hmm. Well, there's
uh,
entirely too many of them who act like they're supposed to be some kind of mystical thing that you need to like
uh-huh.
be on a pedestal for, and it's like just show up and love your children. That's what moms do, and that's
It's
why they're so celebrated in society. They literally just kind of like put in the work, and they're putting in
almost
the
like they got
work
a
for something apart from themselves. That's one of the more valuable lessons that you'll learn when you take care of a pet, and I would say you experience more of when you're taking care of a tiny little human who's literally helpless as a baby, as an infant. That's
right.
that's that's when you learn how selfish you are.
hmm I already know how selfish I am. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do
mm.
it.
Maybe
Is
maybe maybe
uh,
not now. Don't worry. Either way, if you have children or if you don't, like, if it's not now, it's all good. And that's what I wanted to
mm,
tell you earlier. If it's not now to pursue something, you don't have a countdown to turning 25 and then you can't do anything with your life after you
mhm.
turn 25. That's not true. As long as you have access to the internet, you can almost do anything because YouTube
True.
videos are quite expansive in the how to do anything stuff nowadays.
hmm
I learned how to do a lot of stuff through YouTube.
Oh yeah, yeah. You learn how to cook a meal for your whole family, and you can also learn how to, save money for the rest of your life. Get financial advice that'll help you forever. There's a lot of things you can learn on YouTube.
Yeah, there's a
Uh,
lot of there's a lot of videos on how to wave dash, and yet not a single one of them that I've tried watching in the past couple of days has said what happens when you try to input the shield to wave to air dodge in the air. What happens if you do it too soon? Everybody always talks about if you do it too late, you won't
mm,
slide as much. Great. What happens if you do it too soon? Like, I need a technical explanation for it
I
because my brother says to me, no, 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 you don't have to be airborne. And I go, no, you do have to be airborne. And I'm so mad at you, but I can't technically explain why you have to be airborne to do an air dodge, but you literally can. And I don't know what happens when you do it too soon, but you can input the air dodge too soon, okay? You can't just press it as you're in jump squat. That's not a thing, okay? You have to be in the air first.
I, PTAS, where are you at?
I don't try to tag PTAS a lot, although I did tag PTAS when off brand,
hmm
Ludwig and Germa teaming up for off brand, bringing back most of the BTS staff, and we're gonna keep
hmm
the BTS studios. And I tweeted at Practical Task, do the "We Are So Back" thing because we are so
hmm
back.
Oh yeah. Now let's do you think we could get Germa to play Melee?
I think Germa has already played Melee at some point in his life. It just
Well,
feels
yes, but I mean, like, can we get him to like play a set?
an exhibition set, maybe, but that would probably be
Get,
in the context of a crew battle of, mixed pro-ami crew battles.
I think that would be. I just think that'd be funny. Something about you could put Germa in any situation, and I think it would make for comedy.
And I think
Even
if
if you,
you had a crew battle where it's kind of like, don't put it on a Melee channel, put it on somebody else's channel where most of the audience does not know who's actually good at the game, who's
I mean,
who's
you
good
could
at the
put.
game, who's not good at the game, and everyone is supposed to just act like, yeah, we're all professionals. But the gameplay that you're
hmm
seeing, you go, some of these people are clearly know what they're doing, and some of these people do
Oh,
not.
oh, it's like the that one game. They're trying to guess the person who's fake.
Yeah. Yeah, something in
Yeah.
that realm. Or maybe even you're not trying to fool anybody in the room. You're only trying to fool the audience watching the video and just,
I feel like
throwing a
I
middle
feel like
finger
that.
finger at that person's channel's audience.
Mm. See, the thing about that is I think that I don't know how it would work, to be honest. How would you be able to disguise who's who? Because I feel like it'd be so obvious to tell who's not a good player. Because in melee, if you suck in melee, you really don't
Mm-hmm.
move good.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I first got into melee, I could not. I still not first got into melee, but got back into like playing. And even the way I play now is weird. I'll explain that in a bit. But uh, uh, I just could not short hop or a wave dash. I just couldn't do it. I would just mess up. I try to do a wave dash back, and Falcon would just do a big old backflip backwards. He'd do his big little scoop, and
Oh,
that
so
was
do you
it.
full hop if you do it too soon, maybe? Hmm.
Maybe, maybe that might be it because I would just full hop like crazy all the time, and then get blown up by Petra. So this is how it is.
If we had people like Germa and others play melee, you wouldn't need to necessarily make it super complicated like I just tried doing. It probably is just the format of crew battles. You have someone who's good on the mic, and that's a shame because maybe it's just Germa commentating himself while playing crew battles of melee.
That that was also what I was thinking. Maybe we could get Germa to commentate melee.
Mm-hmm.
Germa to commentate melee might be better than Germa playing melee.
Well, that's almost certainly true because you would be watching not Mario. Who would Germa play in Melee?
Germa
Maybe
would play
Marth.
Luigi.
Someone would tell him to play Marth, and he'd go, okay. And you'd just be seeing a Marth F smashing all over the place. And would it work for one stock? And we'd all go,
Hmm.
oh. But then remember, right, because Marth forward
Damn,
smash is
Germa kind of
dummy
smoothing.
busted.
Hmm. Oh man, I've lost a set to a not a set, but I've lost a game to a 9-year-old that way because he counterpicked Mute City and forward smashed me with Marth, and I was like,
No
okay.
ledges. That's tough.
Yeah, well, it was also a bar tournament, and there's like a nephew of someone at the bar tournament because they just show up because it's fun, and it's like, oh, we're gonna play freaking Mute City with this kid, and he every game he plays is on Mute City. You have to play Mute City against him. It's just the rite of passage.
What? What do you mean you have to? You just go tournament
He won't
rules.
he no he won't play another map. We just gotta play Mute City.
You know, I know that the NS scene is trying to be accommodating to everybody. You know, Legs always wants to play on Pokefloats, and you could gentleman to Pokefloats, as I would
You could.
obviously want to do if I played against Legs in bracket. But you can't accommodate these people forever. Eventually, they got to know, like, if you're playing in the competitive environment, you got to drop those friendly rules stuff. You gotta drop the attitude. Go to a tournament legal stage, play DSR. Don't do this
This is
whole.
also a this is also a 9-year-old.
Yeah, well, they need to know. These kids need to know. I am all about friendly environment of let's play Mute City, all items on. I don't care. But as soon as it's a tournament situation, it's like, no, I'm not agreeing to go to Mute City, and the items are going to stay off, and we're going to have an
I'm
8 minute
going
timer.
to.
We're going to do 4
I
stocks.
want to go there. But I just want Mute City to be legal. That stage is great.
It's a
So
super
much
fun
fun.
stage, yes, but then you tell the 9-year-old run your own tournament, make your
No.
own rules. That's the other thing that you tell that 9-year-old.
Okay, yes.
And then 2 years
Okay.
later, they're the best TO in your region,
That's right. We have a major in Nova Scotia now because
run
of
by an
that.
11-year-old. Yes.
Exactly. He's running off his piggy bank, but we'll figure it out.
Hopefully, somebody that he knows that is an adult figure in his life is just like, oh, you run a Super Smash Brothers tournament for the GameCube. Here you go, sweetie. Here's five thousand
Here's not.
dollars.
Here's $900,000.
Mm-hmm. Let's fly out all these top players. And
Mm-hmm.
can I get flown out also? I'll sit on Gimme That Wheat's lap from Philly to Halifax if I have to. Although Wheat
If you,
would probably say, "No, I don't want you to do that." And I'd go, "Yeah, that's
I,
understandable."
I don't think Wheat would want you to ever do that. He does not strike me as the man who would want that.
I've tried so many bits with Wheat and he only goes for 10% of them and yet he still talks to me. So I feel like he's just giving me a lot of chances as his
Hmm.
own bit, and that's why we still talk on a semi-regular basis.
That's the best friend you can have, you know? Yeah,
I love Wheat though, and I love listening to the Waiting for Game podcast about Melee with
I
Wheat
do.
and Edwin Budding. What kind of media around Melee do you consume other than this? I mean, you don't listen to every single one of my podcasts, I assume, but you
I
listen
try
to a
to.
few of them, so hooray for that. But who do you like watching for content or for podcasting other than that?
Well, I listen to most of the big Melee podcasts, so like Radio Melee, obviously. Waiting for a Game, like you said, I listen to them every week when they come out. So, well, every bi-weekly, you know,
They're
whatever.
a weekly, bi-weekly show.
Yeah, that they don't really have a schedule. They say bi-weekly one week, then it's weekly the next week. Who cares? Uh, I mean, obviously for content, there's like obvious answers. There's Awesome Sauce, but that is, everyone talks about Awesome Sauce. I miss Toph's videos. Toph was making a lot of videos for a while, and he kind of hasn't been making videos for a minute, and I've been missing those because I felt like he had really good insights on and a lot of really good just topics and stuff like that. Like
we
he did a lot of really good story time videos.
we need Toph and Hugs to make videos together because Hugs like for our stream highlights and like super cutting them into a topic video. I always thought Hugs is really good live to the point where it's not on the level of a video essay. It's not like a summoning
Hmm.
salt video, okay? But it is
Hmm.
good enough that you just come away from it going, pretty good because he's doing it live and talking about it live, and then it's well edited down into what you see on YouTube. And I always thought that Toph similarly could go live on Twitch, talk about a topic, talk about story time, and it would end up a really good product uh, product on YouTube afterwards. And I always thought
Hmm.
they joke about trying to pass each other for subscriber counts, or was it Hugs joking with somebody else about that specifically? But anyway, I would love to see them collaborate a little bit more. But Tofa, to your point, is only really streaming nowadays for Radio Melee. I don't really think he streams super often other than Radio
Yeah,
Melee. But you know
I
what? He
remember him.
also is now on the married train, and there's other things. I mean,
Hmm.
Toph twit longer sometime within the past 12 months about things are just I'm not going to be super ultra super duper whooper active. I'm not going That's not going to be me anymore. But still
Mm.
doing a fair amount of things. Okay, like, we're not as if he's not pulled a Scar just yet, and we still get the Scar and
No.
Toph show, which is also
Yeah.
really awesome to
The
get that
reads.
on a like a 2 times a month basis at the most. I'd say it's more of
I
a
think
once a month
so.
thing, but it's
I
really
think it's
cool.
once. Well, I think it's like once. Oh yeah, Scar and Taupe show. I forgot they started doing that again. They do the reads. I thought we were talking about the reads for a second. No, the
No, you're probably right. It's probably closer to the reads because they are having the guest play on ranked. So is that the
Oh
reads
yeah,
or
yeah. That's the reads. Yeah, yeah. That's. I think they do like 4 or 5 episodes with each guest, and then one a week. I think.
right. Yeah, they record for like 3 hours and then they cut it up into,
Mm.
45
Yeah.
minutes or whatever content.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. In terms of other people, like, uh, I mean, most of the other stuff I'll watch is like just VODs of Melee. Uh, and then there's like some other people who are kind of in that Melee sphere, but not really. Like, TK Breezy will occasionally have a good, because he was kind of doing that same kind of thing you were talking about with Toph and Hugs, where they would talk about a current subject. Now TK Breezy is kind of also doing that a bit more with an ultimate edge, I will say, a bit more ultimate news in there,
Yep.
but still a fair bit of Melee in there as well. So that's always good to hear. And I do like to keep up with what's going on in the Ultimate community because I feel like if I'm going to start eventually going to these bigger tournaments where like I have to interact with this community somewhat, I should know like some things. Like I know how to play Ultimate. I played a ton of it. I have like 900 hours in that game. Like,
I'm
don't
sorry
ask me
that you put
why.
900 hours in.
That game is, I like it. It's a fun game. But uh,
Talk about the online netcode. And I'm kidding. Please continue.
no, no,
You keep
no.
doing your
That
thing.
I won't. I can't co-sign that one. I'm with you on that one.
It's okay. It's
Uh,
okay. I also just don't like the delayed air dodge, no
mm,
wave dashing, no
mm,
ledge cancels. Just
there
ledge trumping
is
I hate so much. There's no edge hogging.
there is technically wave dashing. You can wave land. You can do that.
Uh-huh. You sure can.
You can, and it is sometimes useful. Most of the time, it's not. But uh, like
I do like that
Smash
Incineroar
content.
player though from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, oh God, from Pittsburgh. Oh God,
Well,
I thought you were
isn't he
talking about
always
Chicago.
wearing a Steelers like varsity
Oh
style
no,
jacket?
no, 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 no. He's from Mexico. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. That's Sky J. Yeah, he's from Mexico.
Well, let's go Steelers, I guess, all the way from
I guess
Mexico. But SkyJ is a
I
fun player to watch because Incineroar, I mean, uh, that is a character I think is really fun, exists in
Oh yeah,
Ultimate.
that's one of my characters in that game. I love Incineroar in that game. He's one of those characters that I wish existed when Melee came out, so they could have put him in there. He would have been trash, but he would have been cool.
Mm.
It's like Bowser again, and they're like not that great, but they're cool
Well,
on
the
paper.
command grab would have been a great edge guarding, like risk it all style mechanic, which would be dummy
Hmm.
hype to see at high level. Like, just imagine with tears streaming down his eyes, someone like I was about to say Ginger again. Somebody like
Oh, oh no!
somebody
You can say Ginger.
no, it's not fair. I mean, I really should just have Ginger on the podcast and I can joke about him being upset
Mm,
fodder. Somebody like Cody
damn.
crying tears of sadness, as he realizes by losing to this Incineroar main in this set, I'm not going to win this tournament. I might not be signed to a team. I might literally have to retire from Melee in 2 months. Getting command grabbed below the ledge and yeah, getting the strong hit to send him back off stage and losing that set versus Incineroar player whatever.
The problem is with those Incineroar players is that animation is so long, is you have so long to know that you're dead. You just got to sit there and take it. You just got to see him take the Irish whip and then come all the way back.
Yeah.
It's
And because it's
unfortunate.
melee, your input would happen, on a CRT or a good monitor. You don't, because
Hmm.
that always drove me crazy. I would always feel like I always mistimed it because when you go from melee to ultimate and vice versa, the input delay kills me. And I've stopped playing ultimate because I can't. I'm not an advanced enough gamer to have two sets of timing in my brain. I could barely do it for 64 to melee, which I said is different. The timing is different for mechanics in each of those games. So I can't put in ultimate. I just had to push it completely out.
Yeah, that is kind of a problem I have as well. But that's why I'm trying to play more games that are similar to Melee, so it won't mess with it
P plus,
as bad.
P plus.
I haven't played much P plus, but I have played a lot of Rivals, so that
What
was
about
fun.
HDR? Have you tried HDR?
I don't have a modded Switch or it's a computer capable of emulating Switch games, so
Yeah, don't worry. Someday, maybe someday. I do not
I'll get
have
it.
a moddable Switch either. It's very, very sad. But one day.
Yeah, I would love to try HDR. It looks fun as hell. Every time I see it, I'm like, that's awesome. I wish that's what normal Ultimate was like. I would like it
Yeah,
more. I
Brian, shouts out to Brian for 717 has HDR. So super cool.
hmm
We make eye contact and I know that I'm going to get sauced by his Dr. Mario, but I do take games with my Link because I like
So,
playing as Link in a lot of Smash games except for Melee because he's just really bad and doesn't feel good to play in Melee.
yeah, yeah. You said a character that's just a sore spot for me back there. Doctor Mario.
Well, you don't
Mm.
like playing him in Melee, or if you don't like playing him in Ultimate, just wait till you play him in HDR. He's the best of the worst of the
Yeah,
best. He has all those mechanics that you hate, and all that and more. He's got the sauce in HDR.
yeah, yeah. We have a problem in Atlantic Melee where we have too many Doctor Marios. There's too many good Doctor
You
Marios, and
already
it's
mentioned a
so
Luigi
annoying.
player. What's with all the Marios and Luigis up there?
We got two Luigis. We got two Dr. Marios. Uh, we got two and a half Puffs. Uh, there's we got two Samuses.
But that's fodder for Captain Falcon.
Yeah, but I don't know. Nemesis is pretty good. I don't know if I could beat Nemesis, but
Okay, well, no,
uh,
that's true. I mean, Hugs beat Samus players. Sorry, Hugs beat
yeah.
Falcon players. It isn't as if it's a
Hmm.
true 100-0 matchup. It looks like it's impossible for Samus sometimes. Sometimes.
It is not fun for that character. I will say it is not fun for Samus. I can tell you from the small bits I have played against Samus, I don't think I would play that character against Falcon ever. I don't think that's a fun matchup
Right.
for
It
them.
just looks like Sheik versus Puff, that kind of thing. Or Sheik versus Ices, or Ices versus
Mm,
Falcon. Like Ices versus Falcon does not look fun at all. I mean,
no,
Wizrobe I mean, poor Moth.
you kind of just knee at them. That's
Yeah,
kind of all you have to do. That's
knees and
all it really.
stomps. It's just crazy.
I beat players, not beat players, but I do much better against good ice climbers than I should. That 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 knee just does wonders against that character.
It really do be separating them and hitting them hard every single time.
Hmm.
Tell me about this
It's a great move.
playstyle of yours that you feel is what's the word?
Unruly.
You said unique. I don't want to describe it without letting you actually describe it yourself.
It's just like it's all it, you know how some people say they're like none ruined a generation of Falcons. I'm that guy. I'm the one he ruined. I just go for moves and situations. I have no fear off stage to the point where it's a problem. I just run out there with a move and you're here, I'm here, I'm just knee, and then I'm just gone. And it's just like I'll do that over and over and over and over again because it's all I know how to do. It's the only way the game makes sense to me is to be a maniac, is to just play like an insane person. It's the only way it's ever made sense.
Mm.
But I have to get better at being patient because a lot of the times I'm just killing myself and not doing things. I do get a lot of compliments from players though. Like people are like, "Wow, how'd you hit that DI? I've never seen that before." Or like, "How'd you hit that tech? I wouldn't hit that tech." And it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just doing things. I don't know. Whenever people are like, "How are you doing all these things?" Because they know I'm very amateur, but they're like, "Oh, there's these flourishes of like crazy things going on here. Like, what's that? What's that you just did? What's that?" And I'm like, uh, uh, your guess is as good as mine. I'm just playing.
Do you watch back any of your sets?
Mm,
Uh,
uh, well, there's not many to go back and watch,
Okay,
but
so
just
you
because
can't
most of them
play
aren't streamed.
online that much, or what?
I okay, so here's I said my playing situation is weird. Here's how I play Melee. I do not own a Wii. I do not have a PC. I do not play Slippy. I only play with other people, and when I go to a local or go to a tournament, this is the only time I play.
Dang.
These are the only times I play right now until I get that fixed. Until I get that fixed. Uh, it's working out for me so far. People are like, "You're getting better every time. It's just happening," and I'm taking games off players. I had no business taking games off before, and I at one of the lesser attended locals, I got ninth from this, so I felt pretty good about that. So I know that the potential is there, and everyone at NS is very complimentary towards me, which I feel very good about. Like a lot of them are genuinely just like, you would genuinely just be very good if you just played the game. Like if you had the game and you played it and you didn't just show up to tournaments and do weird stuff to us, you would actually be very good. So that's always nice to hear when people are like, "Yeah, you would be good. Just play more." And I'm like, oh, great." But I don't know. There's something about me that I'm worried about. Like I'll lose that edge because something about the way I play is just fun. I don't know. Even when I lose, I'm like, "Damn, that was great." I was like, wasn't it cool how I killed myself there? That was awesome.
I know what you mean though, because there are times where you hate the idea of playing just like everyone else. But
Hmm.
if you want to be PR someday and you have
You kind of
expressed
got to have some restraint.
Well, you gotta get a Wii and a CRT, or you gotta get a computer.
Exactly. Exactly. I am just a melee nomad kind of in the way
Mm.
that I play. Just kind of walk around, show up, play a bracket, beat a person maybe, go lose my next two games, and then I'm out and I'm just having a good time, which is it's because I also don't have the bone in my body that cares about losses, that maybe I haven't had that, or maybe I just haven't had that loss yet that really gets me, because I haven't lost a set yet and gone like, oh fuck, that was terrible. I feel awful. Everyone's seen me what it's like when I feel sad after losing a set. It's like it's a minute. I'm like, hmm, hmm, whatever, and then it's just next set, next tournament.
It's a
It's the next
strength of
thing.
yours.
Yeah, it's like, but I wonder if that just means it's a ticking time bomb, which means, let's say I somehow get really good. I get like, I'm in winner's final in my pool at freaking Gommel or whatever, and I'm fighting, I don't know, the fiction or something, and I'm like, game five, whatever, and then I just lose. Maybe that would be it. I would be like, oh, it's so close. It's right there. Oh my God, such a good victory. Or just even like, it wouldn't even have to be fiction, even probably. It'd probably just even be like some really good like Canadian player. Like if I like had a really close set with Goose Con, I'd probably, maybe I'd feel some kind of way, because that would feel, I don't care about losing, but a loss will always feel worse than a win. It is just no real way to slice it. You would rather win than lose pretty much every single time.
Absolutely. And the harder you fall. That is true.
Hmm. Yeah, that's I just my goal with like being good at melee is just that I want to be able to hold my own against any player. That's my that's my number one. I'm just like, I don't want to necessarily win tournaments or be the best. That would be awesome. It'd be great. But I just want to be able to one day sit down at a setup with like literally anyone, doesn't matter. Like, I want to be able to sit next to Leffen and not get absolutely washed one day. That's what I want. I want that's it's if winning comes with that, that's secondary. Winning is whatever. I like the improvement at melee and like seeing myself get better more so than like any win has ever, like a win feels good, but a win is just a sign of the improvement that you're having. It's not necessarily the defining trait of it. The defining trait is the effort that you put in to get there. That's gonna feel way better than just the win itself. You're gonna be like, oh my god, I can't believe I did all that to get here.
So
Yeah.
you're going to hold your own someday, and you're going to get a setup for yourself someday. In the
Mm-hmm.
meantime, if you want to be slightly more involved with things, then what do you feel like the actual realistic next step is? If you wanted to give
My
yourself a goal for, say, by the end of the summer, what would be the next step that you
hmm,
feel like you can attain to that?
my sheesh, what would I want? Maybe I think maybe to more consistently go at least 2-2 in a bracket. To at least get to that, because I'm kind of stuck in this 0-2 hellhole right now.
No, I know what you mean.
And this,
I can
or
only
the
blame
one
myself
two,
though. I have two setups. I have a computer and a
oh yeah,
CRT, we and
or the
TV, and I'm just still stuck here
or
because I don't
or
practice.
the one, yeah, or the 1-2 purgatory of just getting that win and feeling like yeah, and then bam bam, and then it's like oh crap, damn it, and it's like whatever. But that would be my main goal, is just that I just want to get more consistent. That is my one major goal for myself right now in melee, is just be more consistent and maybe hold back a little bit. Maybe step on the brakes a little bit when aggressing, because it's getting you kind of killed a lot.
Mm. Well, I hope that you're able to do that. Let's go ahead and wrap this up by you delivering any final thoughts that you have, and then shout outs, and then we'll move to the next phase. I don't want to give you too many steps, but final thoughts, shout outs, the floor is yours.
I would say one thing that I've learned about being in Melee is that finding a community that you love being around is very important, is invaluable. So it doesn't have to be Melee. If you're listening, and let's say maybe you're not a Melee head somehow, and you're listening to this somehow,
This far, yeah.
I mean, if you got this far, if you're literally anyone and you're like you want a community, you can go out there. There's people out there. They're for you. They'll want you there. Other than that, go to your locals. That's it. That's all I got. Shout out Petra. Shout out Legs. Shout out Brad Cosmetics. Shout out Ketchup. Shout out to Mega Joint Cook, King Pie High, Slab Crab, Cinnamon Bun, Glumbo, Junior Chicken, Nerve. I can go on and on with this.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. You know I love you so much. You know I love you. Big shout out to Crime Wave. This is going to be a real shout out. Shout out to my boy Crime Wave. He goes by U.S. Marine in Melee. He's a Falcon player. He's also a rapper. He's dope. His name's Crime Wave. Listen to his album, New Game Plus. Good album.
Link me that and I'll link it down below.
Oh, yeah. And he's also in a band called Extortionist. And they have, they're a hardcore band. And they have Melee samples in a song called Double Jump. So that's great.
That is awesome.
Other than that, if you somehow listened to this episode and wanted to follow me on Twitter from it, go ahead. Other than that, I think we're good.
You know, they listened to this episode because they really wanted more reads from Beauty and the Beast 1990 something. They didn't just want the monologue. They wanted you and I to do scenes together.
Can I be... Who would I... I'm the little teacup guy. I'm going to think I'm a teacup.
Oh, Chip.
Chip. Yeah, I was going to say Chip, but I didn't want to sound stupid.
It's so basic. Why would they call the one that has a chip in his teacup Chip?
Isn't that fucked up that he was just named Chip, by the way, and then that just happened to him.
He was chipped from the very beginning. It's not like that happened to him because he was fine at the start and then the beast like threw him on the floor or something. But is that how it happened? Oh my gosh. And by the way, was Scar named Scar before the Scar, or did his name become Scar? Disney movies, man.
That's what I'm saying, dude. We can talk about this some other time, but God, I was gonna say something about. Oh yeah, when he turned back to a human? Don't you think Chip should have like a piece of his head missing or something? Like
I think that the spell would have possibly cured that as well. But he had a gap in his teeth. That's enough of a chip. Go back and watch the movie.
Okay, it's been years. All right, this has been a great time. Thank you for having me on. Have me back on anytime. It would be a pleasure.
It would be awesome to have you back on in the someday near future. You get it. To all the lovely listeners and viewers, yes, if you want more monologues, I will just go ahead and do them. But sadly, no one's ever asked me to do more. I think I may have done this one or two other times.
This can be a tradition. If I ever show up on more episodes, you can find more florally related monologues that we can go through.
Or we can talk about, because I will try to watch Dear Zachary if it's somewhere. It appears to be accessible with a YouTube Prime time. I thought it said premium description. Heck, then that means I can't watch it because I have a premium subscription but not a Prime Time subscription. And who cares subscription? By the way, why can't I watch football if I have a premium subscription to YouTube already? It doesn't make sense. I hate capitalism, but I also love capitalism because that's how the Patreon works. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Now, don't you go anywhere, Rose, because we got to do the outro and the thumbnail. But to all the lovely listeners and viewers, thank you for tuning in again. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye. All right. Let me see if I can get him. can get a thumbnail, I will.
Damn. Well, I'm just letting the outro play, and they can hear me talking through the outro because they can hear you talking. But since you were talking, I figured I'd talk too.
Oh, yeah, yeah.